Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler Friday Fishing Report. This is where we look at current events, we look at politics, and obviously we go over the fishing. If you guys are new to this channel, we do the Friday Fishing Report every Friday. I'm filming today for November 15th, so if it's nowhere near November 15th, click up here. This is a link to all of our Friday Fishing Reports, and we've probably got something more up to date for you. This week, we are looking at one of the biggest blowouts, or at least forecasts of a blowout that I've ever seen. It is huge. And so we're going to look at it in detail. Now, I'm supposed to be guiding this weekend, so I'm watching it really closely, and I'm going to go show you guys some tricks of which weather forecasts I look at depending on how far out I'm looking, whether I'm looking 3 days, 1 day, 6 hours, or I'm looking at it right in the morning of the given day that I'm going out. I'm going to show you a couple different tricks there to gauge whether it's worth getting out there on the water. That said, I don't know if it's going to be this weekend. It looks pretty dang nasty. So we're going to look at the Squamish, we're going to look at the Vedder, we're going to look at the Harrison and see how this possible major storm is going to affect them. We're also going to talk about a fly that I did this week. It was my turn this week to do the Friday fly, and I took it from comments from you guys in one of my earlier videos about what's in my coho box, and we looked at the arrow style pattern. Did it in a high water version, pretty pertinent to what we might be seeing this weekend. I did it in a low clear water version, and we're going to walk through that at the back end of the report. We're also going to talk more about the Thompson River steelhead. And this week, a guy named Bob Hooten, who is a very, very knowledgeable guy when it comes to both politics and steelhead, he got on the Jill Bennett show and had some interesting stuff of what he feels needs to be fixed in both the politics and the fishery. So I'm going to walk you guys through that, and as always, I'm going to have links to all of it in the description below. So if you guys want to see more reports like this, stuff on politics, stuff on current events, stuff obviously on the fishing, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get into the fishing report. Okay, so here we are, November 15th. As always, for full disclosure, I am filming almost November 15th. It is 11:30 on Thursday, so the day before you guys see this. So it's gonna be fairly up to date. I wanted to drag my heels on this as far as I could because of the major weather coming down the pipe. So let's start there. And when we look at the Vancouver weather, she is nasty. You're gonna get wet. Come down, buy a jacket from us, bundle up. But we're looking at 5 to 10 on Friday as you're watching this, and then the big bump comes a 30 to 40 mil. That's going to be a lot of water. But the news is more situated on the rivers that we fish. So we're going to pull up Squamish, and this is the one that really worries me and is more pertinent to me because, like I said earlier, I plan on being out guiding here. When we look at Friday, the day we're filming this, is 10 to 15, but then they're showing 50 to 75 millimeters for Saturday. Now, in the last year, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments below, I have not seen this. I don't know if a 50 to 75 has been forecast in the last year. I've seen them rarely before, but this is a major water event to the point where I don't want to cause alarm, but if you're living next to the Squamish River, I might be keeping an eye on things for flooding issues. Not life-threatening flooding issues, but still some very, very, very high water. So that would tell me that you guys shouldn't go fishing up there on Saturday, definitely not on Sunday. But the weatherman's been wrong. He's been wrong a lot. If you guys have been watching my Friday fishing reports, he's actually batting, we joke about it in the shop, right now he's batting 61%, meaning that when I've seen a report that says the river will blow out, it doesn't blow out about 40% of the time, and vice versa. We've had some ones that came out of the nowhere and sort of blew out the rivers and we didn't know why. And so I'm going to teach you guys how I look at weather forecasts specifically for the fishing report, because I need a long term, I need to cover you guys for a few days, but then also how I look at it completely differently if I'm actually going fishing. So the first trick is look at the weather network for your long plan. So let's say it's Monday, you're thinking about getting fishing Saturday or Friday or whenever it may be. Weather Network is the best. They go into a lot more detail and a lot broader length of time. But the problem with that is when they get specific, it's very easy for them to be wrong. Now, the other site, however, that gets into a lot more detail, is a lot more predictable, but only in a short period of time, is the government page. And so we're looking at today, I'm reading this Thursday night, it's going to talk Friday for the Squamish, and it's going to say rain ending near noon, then mainly cloudy with 60% chance of showers. So that sounds brilliant. If you guys are out Friday, it should be a darn good day out there. And then it says amount 5 to 10 millimeters, high of 9, it gets very specific there. And then it talks about rain beginning from mid-morning, temperatures steady near 6. And so that breaks down the entire day for you, and that's where it can get really valuable on a fishing front if you are looking the night before or even the morning of. When you wake up in the morning, say 4, 5, 6 in the morning, planning out a day, look at this report, not the Weather Network, because the Weather Network is never close to being right, at least in the 12-hour period. So we don't have news here because they don't go as far as Saturday. So what I want you guys to do if you're thinking about getting on the Squamish, heck, if you're thinking about getting anywhere this weekend, look at this the night before you go fishing. If you're trying to get out Saturday, look at it tonight when you're about to go to bed, and then pull it up in the morning just to be safe on the river levels front, and you're going to get the most detail you can out of it. Also, check about when it was issued. So you can see here, this one, as I'm reading you guys, was issued at 4 p.m. Thursday. So could wait this one out. It's probably going to update around midnight for me, about 11 o'clock or midnight. I think I want to say every 6 hours. But see if you can get the most up-to-date report when you're heading out of the water, and it will pay dividends. So at least you're not sitting out there getting soaked in a blown-out river. And when you can time this river really well, or these reports really well, you can catch a river where it's rising but not rising too hard, or it's dropping and not dropping too hard off one of these blowouts. And as we've said in the past, if you can play that knife's edge, you're going to have the absolute best fishing of the season. So let's roll it out into Chilliwack, because Chilliwack is a little bit different, but still getting a ton of water. They're not going to get quite as much as the Squamish, and this is common. A lot of the moisture hits the coast, and as it pushes inland, we don't get quite as much. But I still think, from what I'm seeing, at least from the weatherman, you guys are going to have really challenging conditions Saturday or Sunday. So in the written version of the report, which is always down in the links below, we've got information on the Squamish, we've got information on the Harrison, we've got information on the Vedder, as well as some different fisheries that you can consider tackling. And the silver lining on all of this is when this blowout happens, everything's going to go out, everything's going to get dirty, or the weatherman's going to lie, one of the two. But either way, when things start settling down, we should see some excellent fishing. And if you can time that correctly, I would expect it comes down the pipe sort of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, at least running off these reports. Now, also on that front, obviously you might not be going out fishing. We probably recommend against it if you've only got one weekend to get out there. This may not be the one to do it. We have another fly tying tutorial this week, and it was my turn this week to do the fly. And I looked at you guys' comments. You guys commented on one of my earlier videos about what's in my coho box. I talked about an arrow style pattern. There were some questions on what does that mean. The arrow style pattern was originated by Andre. And it's just a very simple but very cool and effective coho fly. And in this video I share with you my favorite version of it, and there's some secret sauce in the pattern, so consider taking a look at that if you guys are planning to get out. I do it in a high water version, which is obviously very pertinent for what we might see this weekend, as well as a low and clear version, which is usually more pertinent at the back end of our season when things get cold. So that's that one. And then on the Jill Bennett front, the Steelhead politics front, Jill has been awesome with us. She's been actually listening to anglers, asking them the right questions, giving us a forum to talk to you guys, talk to the general public about fisheries issues. And this week she had on Bob Hooton. Now, if you guys don't know who Bob Hooton is, he is a guy, I will simply put, that understands politics, understands bureaucracy, but understands fishing as well, which is a very rare trifecta of knowledge. And he's very passionate about steelhead, and I encourage you guys to listen to what he has to say. Take a look at his books, take a look at some of the work that he's done, because obviously the Thompson is one that is a big problem because politics has sort of got in the way. This is something that I don't think enough was done for. A lot of people were trying really hard, but backdoor politics, special interest politics, and then a real lack of concern or respect for the value of these fish was something that I feel played into their demise. And again, like I reported last week at Remembrance Day, I don't want you guys to forget about this. So take a moment, listen to the Jill Bennett show. It's like the third one in, and it's on her, let me get the date for you guys here. Yeah, it's from the Remembrance Day High Speed Rail and Fraser Steelhead podcast version. And it is the third sort of segment in, so just click through to that and take it. It's going to take you 6 minutes of your life, way less than it took to listen to me ramble on about the Friday Fishing Report, but it's well worth it. All right, so that wraps up everything I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you guys want to see more stuff like this, you want to see me ramble on about fishing politics, about current events in the fishing industry, and obviously about the fishing, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll catch you in the next Friday Fishing Report.